Hi, I'm Michael Allison, Commercial Director at Roma Finance, and welcome to another episode of RomaTalks, when I'm joined by people from across the property ecosystem. And today we have a returning guest. We have Mr. Tony Walker of Help Build. Hello, Tony.
Hi, Michael. Good to be back.
Good to be back, and what an exciting time to be back as well.
I know, lots going on.
With recent announcements. So why don't you tell everybody? Obviously, people will already know you, those who watch. I think you were the second episode that we ever did.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was right back. I was trying to think back when it was. It's been a while now, hasn't it? So
it's been a while, but yeah. So we've obviously, the set's not changed, but we've changed a lot since then, and a lot's been going on with you, which we're really happy to be part of. Why don't you tell us what's been going on then?
Yeah, so basically we've gone on a bit of a transition over the last year, and we've moved away from more hands-on project management and focused on budgeting, estimating and supporting contractors and developers with the build costs. That's the area of the business we wanted to grow, and from that we highlighted a real problem with cost in refurbishment projects. And I could sit there and do 2 new builds in terms of an estimate in the time it took me to do a refurb, missing information. No one wanted to pay for a site visit because they could be looking at 10 properties before they find the golden nugget. So I really wanted to find a solution into letting people price their own refurbs, but using accurate data, moving away from a square metre cost, because they barely work on new builds and extensions, let alone refurbishments, because it's so varied. So I started to do a bit of research and started speaking to people, and actually found people interested in buying my Excel spreadsheet, which was a bit mad for me, but it was like, well, yeah, we like what you do, we trust your data, so it's great. And I ended up through one of the networking events meeting Richard Devonport, who does branding, web design, and he basically turned to me and he went, I could make your spreadsheet into an online platform. And I was like, that's great, Rich, but I can't afford it. And then Sunday afternoon the following week, he sent me a voice note. He went, I want to do this. I want to do it. I believe we can automate build costs. Everyone tells me you can't, but you're telling me we can. So let's do it. So we formed a beautiful partnership, and within 2 months we launched our product, the Refurb Calculator, which we're delighted to be partnering with Roma as our lender partner on it, which we'll come on to a little bit more of how that's going to work. But yeah, we've basically created an online platform to allow developers, property sources and investors to cost their refurbishment projects themselves while walking a property. And you can do it in less than 30 minutes. It's rapid, and it uses the live data that I use through my day-to-day business of Help Build. We're pulling labour rates from the contractors we work with on a weekly basis. We pull the material rates from the purchasing of the materials we do on a weekly basis. It's live, it's updated on a monthly basis, if not weekly if we need to. So it's a really exciting product. It's very new to the market. There's nothing else out there like it. Loads of people concentrate on new builds, traditional QS work, where we're going in and hitting the gap, which is refurbs.
And that's the people who are out there, I suppose, in the circles that we mix in.
100%.
A lot of people, it's about refurb and not making that new property from the ground. It's repurposing what's already there.
100%. And there's so many ifs and buts with it, and so many people. I still use what I call a fag packet estimate, and you guys at Roma must see it. You get a deal come through, and you go, well, how have you priced the build costs? And you get the blank look back, and you go, well, I think it's going to be 25 grand. And even I can walk into a property, I've done it for years and years and years from start to completion, and go, I think it's about 50, but until you start to break it down line by line and look at the worst case and the best case, it's really difficult to know that sort of ballpark figure. So giving people the platform to do that themselves is quite powerful.
And things change, don't they? So having one of the things we really liked about your calculator was it was that live data feed or real time. So, with the weekly updates of the cost, because things do change.
100%, and we already know about like plasterings going up in January on the 1st, so we already know that's coming in, so that update will already be putting in. We'll also be concentrating on things like the budget and when salaries and wages are going up, and because we work with contractors all the time, we know how the market's going, what it's doing when it's tough, and we also, the calculator works out for area specific, because your Leeds project isn't the same as a centre London, so it fluctuates the cost by selecting the area. Your delivery method, which is a lot of people overlook, are they doing it themselves, are they doing labour themselves, are they bringing in a main contractor? Because again, those cost differences are huge to make the project work.
What's that about plaster then? Just tell me.
So it was over a month ago now. I've already had the information that plastering materials are going up between 4 and 6% across the board, and that was a very early announcement. You usually get it around about the end of November, and I got it, I think it was the end of September. So that kind of sets a precedent. But we have seen everything went up in April. when the national insurance hike came in. Everything across the board did. But since then, it's been quite quiet. You get your odd ad hoc stuff coming in, but no major supply. Whereas gypsum, which obviously produces the plastering products, they've all gone, that's it, it's going up. That's the price increase.
Do you think that's going to be a trend going into next year?
I think I was discussing it in one of the networking groups I'm in, and we said that I think next year will be hard for materials again. Since COVID, it's leveled, if not decreased, in certain areas. Yeah. The only plus side is merchanting and your suppliers aren't busy. They're not, so there are deals to be had, but you need really good procurement strategies in there to get those. So there is chances for bargains, but I do think we're seeing some increases coming in January.
Well, the first time I saw your calculator, we were at the Property Developer Show.
Yeah, in the Manchester.
Manchester. I walked past, we had our usual catch up, and you had that, and you demonstrated it to me. I just got it. You know, you can feel it straight away. And you're right. As a lender, you get varying different types of how people have costed their projects, and normally that then gets the tires kicked on by a QS or a valuer or us ourselves using our own. And it never is normally what people submit in. But having that methodology to get it as near as damned as you can. Yeah. Refurbs, you're always going to find something you're not expecting. Certainly if it's got a cellar or an attic. But you know, I love the clean approach to it.
It's really clean, and it lets people just put them in. The basic process of it is you select your area, you put the room measurements in, which most of the time you get from your agents anyway, so you can do all that pre-visit, go and walk the property room by room, select the level of works from how big is a strip out, is it just wallpaper, is it a full back to brick, is the kitchen coming out, is it damp, etc. You kind of select your level per room, so it really is, because a lot of people, you can go into refurbs and half a house is pretty good, some of the house is terrible, so you can do it line by line. You go into your mechanicals, so your M&E and your electrics, does it need a rewire, is it just new distribution board, or actually just a test certificate, does it need a new boiler, all the way to does it need new windows, doors, structural, you can take walls out. Again, certain items will always be provisional sums, but at first look of that property, it will always be a provisional sum, but actually you're allowing for it. Go through all that, select your delivery method, whether you need project managers, site managers, depending on the size of a project. But then the beauty is it produces a full schedule of works, which is your line, description, quantity and cost. And my remit, because to be fair, I'm the data feed, but Rich is the brains behind the operation making. And my remit to Rich was, I want it to look like a QS schedule, which I would produce for my clients. I didn't want it to look like anything but, and we absolutely nailed that. So when you as a lender or whoever wants that schedule of works comes, it looks professional. It looks like it gives a description. So for your kitchen, it tells you what the allowance they've made for the kitchen. So you can go, actually, this person does know what they're doing. They have allowed for everything. We've even got a manual line. So if there's a certain thing in the property which is, not your norm, they can add that. And it might be that that's a TBA because it's very specialist. But as a lender, you go, well, right, they've allowed for that. And that can come into the contingency because we always allow a 10% contingency line. So it just allows for everything. You can go, these guys know what they're doing.
I think it helps as well, even if there's no lending involved. It helps people make sure there's that project stack.
100%.
So and probably helps them with the buying power as well.
It's exactly that. So we produce a blank schedule as well, so they can actually then, as they're going through the process, because what we were finding was, and this is nothing against builders and contractors, I have a massive amount of time for them. They keep the industry held up, and they keep it going. So it's not me slating them, but they're so busy. When I was at my contractors, I used to get the phone calls. Can you come and have them price this refurbishment project for me? And I always say, yeah, what stage are you at? I'm just viewing it. I've got 20 quotes on the board, which are jobs ready to start in the next 6 months. No offense, I'm not then going to go and spend 4 hours specifying your refurb for you to go, the numbers don't stack. And by that point, if you do find a builder who do that, it might be 2 weeks later. And if that was a good deal, that property's gone. It's vanished. So now it's giving people, if they're good and they're willing to do it, you could negotiate with the agent on site. And we have had an instance with one of our early users where he was on site, he showed them and sent the schedule of works costed with his offer. Yeah. And they went back to the vendor and they went, look, this is what it's going to cost to refurb. You're not going to get the price you're hoping for. And he actually negotiated a deal with it, which is fantastic for us because it's given them clout. I did expect kickback from agents because I thought, are we going to, start to knock down the price? But what we're finding is a lot of agents said it's the vendors who are dictating the sale price, and they're trying to say to them, you can't refurb this house for 15 grand. This is a 35,000-40,000 pound refurbishment. So it's adding in, and that's avenues we're looking into next year. And it gives that ability to the property developer to negotiate straight away. And then they can go home, they can do all the final numbers. And at that point, if they've had a deal agreed, they can start going out to contractors with a full schedule of works. You know, usually you're saying, can you come and have a look and tell me what needs doing? Now you're telling your contractors, this is what we're looking to get done. So it's a really powerful tool for that.
Brilliant. And how can people access it?
So you can go online, refurbcalculator.co.uk.
Put that there. Yeah.
Put it in the screen. Or just Google Refurb Calculator. We're already at the top of that. And we're giving it away a 7-day free trial. So people can try it. And there's no limitations to it. We've not said you can only do one in 7 days or you only get a bit of access to this. So when you do it, you can see if it's for you. See if you're comfortable doing it. We're about to add a load of tutorial videos because people who are new to it were going, well, I don't know if the distribution board needs replacing. So we've just done a load of recording. We're going to add like 30-second knowledge nuggets to each line so people can start to understand it. We're trying to create a community behind it, and then it will let people then do everything right through. And we even give a free deal analysis at the end where you put all your stamp duty, your legal fees. It gives you the average, but you can alter that, and it tells you how the deal stacks. And I went to see one to trial it out, and I adjusted the sales price what you put in at the beginning by 20 grand, and it stacked. So again, it gives you all the tools to really go in and decide whether that is a good deal, what's the profit figures, where's the margins at, and that's all within your 7-day free trial. So give it a go, see if it can change sort of your way of pricing refurbs. And we've had experienced people going, well, we'll use it, even though we kind of know, but that's quicker than me going back home and filling in my spreadsheet.
Yeah, because you can do it live on site.
100%. 100%.
Fantastic. And what are you seeing in the industry at the moment? Obviously, we mentioned costs and materials going up. What about labour itself? You know, labour with regards to people exiting the workforce versus the number of people entering. Are you seeing that as being a problem at all?
100%. It's something I harp on about a lot. I'm scared for the next 5 years. I think we're going to have it even worse. There's obviously the government's drive to build new builds. The history in that tells us sites pay good money to make that happen because it has to happen. However, then what happens to the likes of us and your the people listening to this who are doing 1 or 2 projects here, the trades aren't available because they're earning the higher day rates on site, but also the skill gap shortage is going to get increased. I say to anybody who argues with this, go into a builder's merchants on a morning and look at the age range. And this isn't me anti-older people. What I'm trying to say is it's high and it's hard out there at the minute, and people are saying we've had enough. We're done with fighting for this. We might do 1 or 2 jobs a year, but sort of the go-getters, let's do 5 jobs at a time. That's dwindling, but you're not getting the younger generation coming into construction to learn the skill, because site bashing, if you want to do it in inverted commas, is very, very different into going into a 1940s, 1920s property what needs refurbishing. You know, studding out those walls is very different to putting your standard stud work up in a new build development. So we've got to get those people into the industry. And people laugh at me a little bit when I say this. Trades is the new 6-figure industry in my eyes. I think good people who come into it, who want the social media presence at the same time, they want to be sat here discussing podcasts and doing things like that. They want a brand, which is what's lacking in construction at the minute. They want all that side. If they add that with working hard in the trade, they'll be earning some really good money, and they'll be able to do their own developments and do that side of it. So yeah, I think we're in for a very up and down few years. It's a bit strange out there at the minute. People are saying they're quiet. People are saying people are holding back. Lots to do with the budget. I hate talking about it, but people are waiting, seeing what's happening. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in January and how that influx comes into the industry, because labour's always been a problem, but people are saying it's a little bit quiet in certain areas.
Yeah, I think people are always, any periods of uncertainty, make people take the time and be cautious. We're lucky we've got a varied product skill mix, so we're able to lean into what's hot and what's not. Commercial has been really bumper for us this year because people are diversifying their portfolios. But moving into next year, there's certainly the groundswell of noise that I'm getting is it's going to cost more to do a scheme. It's going to be hard to get labour. When you get labour, you're going to have to pay more for it. and make sure you pay them on time to retain it.
This is absolutely key. I was having a chat with somebody last night actually, and I said, whatever you do, if you find good people, look after them.
Yeah.
Pay them on time. Pay them what you said you were going to do. Buy them a butty. Take them for a pint at the end of a project, because if you find the good trades, they will get back to the stage where they're selecting who they want to work for, and you want to be that person when you pick the phone up and go, I've got another refurb. I understand it's hard to keep them going, taking on trades full time, but you want to be the one they don't mind working for. They want to be there working for you. And as you said, you've got to keep them and keep them on side.
Yeah, it feels that out of everything, the one that's going to end up bottom of the list is probably the private client work. You know, so doing somebody's extension, doing something here. I think that's the bit that people will almost turn their noses at, because you can go with a property developer who's going to do
100%
6 or 7 in the next 2 years, or you can work on a site. You got work for the next however long we're going to build 1.5 million homes.
It's exactly that, and I think we're already seeing the death of the rear extension. You know, the classic lean-to across the back of a house. I did one a few years ago, and I think the trouble with that is now they're so expensive. You used to be able to knock one of them out for 20-25 grand easily, and it's a lot of money, but it was the same cost as a car. You know, now you're talking 50-75 grand for one of those extensions. So estate agents are going, well, you're not ever going to get that back. So are you staying here, to see it out? And some people are, but I think we were already seeing the death of that rear extension, and that it doesn't pay. Yeah. Yes, we've got equity, but it doesn't pay. And I think add that in, as you said, where it's the private client is going to suffer. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting year next year, but I also think it's a year of opportunity with that. Especially, the renters reform bill's got a lot of bad press, etc. But I also think with that, people who are looking for long-term investments, and the refurb market is going to be really strong. So I think you're going to see a lot of properties on the market that haven't been touched. They probably don't need to go back to brick and be a full, but you're going to need to tart them up, new kitchen, new bathroom, new floor coverings, etc. Probably tidy the garden up, which is sort of your light level refurb. But I think we'll see a lot more of those properties come in the next 12 months.
Yeah, and I think using things like the Refurb Calculator and being bold and understanding your numbers might help you buy equity almost.
100%.
And that's what people are looking to do, is buy equity. There's no point buying it at the price that's at the top end price and then trying to add something to it. Using your tool can help actually find that deal that works for them.
Yeah, exactly. A workable deal.
Provable as well, isn't
exactly that. Less risk, eliminating the risk and allowing you to find that golden nugget in that project. Actually, there's a bit of profit in it. This is one that's worth doing.
Brilliant. Well, listen, we're really excited to carry on with the journey, and I think watch this space. I think there's going to be some real good people using it. I know we've introduced the different varieties of brokers, etc. I think it's looking forward to becoming a bit of a household name.
Yeah, really, really excited for next year. We've got some really big plans to kind of get it out there. We're adding mini calculators very soon, which will allow you to, say, appraise 20 within a few minutes. So really basic, but they're all driven and all linked by very accurate cost. And we're going to be adding extensions on there, loft conversions. We're trying to crack automation within it. We've got really exciting things we're looking into, like can you take a picture? Can that automatically scale the refurb? We're trying to look at all that technology and also implementing the simplicity and the speed of doing it on ground up developments. So we're looking at all those options to really help the developer cost their builds accurately.
Well, with all that going on, you might be the first person to be on here 3 times.
That would be nice. We should set a date for next year.
Listen, as always, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
Really enjoyed speaking to you. I thank you for watching at home. Thank you.